It's Energy Star's highest honor, given for sustained excellence. This year, the Evergreen School District received the coveted award. It's rare for a school district to get this kind of recognition. Only 4 school districts nationwide, including Evergreen, have earned it since 1998.
It's really easy to reduce your energy use for a year or two, but to sustain that has been extremely difficult for school districts. Things change, people move, people who are responsible for keeping people focused on it go somewhere else, and all of a sudden the focus is no longer there, and the savings begin to erode.
Not so in the Evergreen School District. Energy-saving strategies have paid off, saving the school district $5.8 million in a little over 3 years.
One of the strategies that we've used here in Evergreen School District is try to embed energy consciousness, as it were, into the culture here, so that even if you're a teacher, you're thinking about, what role do I play in energy conservation? If you're a maintenance person, you might have normally only just maintained the facilities or the equipment, or especially the HVAC equipment. Now you think in terms of how you maintain it and still have it be an efficient piece of equipment, or while you're maintaining it, is there anything I can do to make it more efficient? At Heritage High School, we were able to take advantage of some incentive money that was made available to us through both Energy Trust of Oregon and Northwest Natural to change out some inefficient boilers that were identified by our maintenance team here at Evergreen School District.
What this is basically a hot water heater for your home. They're about 80 to 85% efficient when operating. Basically, we were sending water through one boiler, and we would send the pass through and go through each additional boiler, which we had 6 of these before. And what we found is by switching to a condensing boiler, we were able to utilize one having just 3 boilers instead of 6. This guy will run at 92 to 99% efficiency depending on its firing rate.
At Evergreen High School, lighting took center stage.
The maintenance team came to me one day and said they thought they had an idea that would help light the auditorium more efficiently and save energy, and also save them labor hours as well. What they wondered is if there was any incentive money available, and I checked with Clark PUD, and sure enough there was.
We had 500-watt incandescent lighting. That was a problem because it generated a lot of heat, which caused a lot of fixture repair. It caused a lot of bulb fatigue. We went to a new LED light, which only draws 17 watts compared to the 500. LED lamps are rated for 50,000 hours compared to 800 hours on the old lamps. So we use a lot less electricity, a lot less labor for changing bulbs. We haven't changed bulbs here in a year, compared to changing bulbs on a constant basis, monthly basis.
Fircrest Elementary posed a different challenge.
At Fircrest, one of the problems that we were having is we were noticing extraordinarily high demand charges relative to other schools of similar size. Unlike residential, where you just pay for the quantity of electricity you use, in a commercial setting, we also pay for that quantity of energy we use, but we also pay a peak demand charge. At Fircrest, we have a technology that gives us a graphic representation of how we're using energy throughout the day. As I was looking at those graphs, I was noticing that we had a recurring peak throughout the day on weekends, on holidays, and so forth. And I went to maintenance to see if there was anything that they could help us do to at least lower, if not eliminate, that peak.
This used to be a middle school, and it had showers and a much higher larger kitchen that was being used. Determined that the hot water heater here was much larger than it needed to be. We added a time clock. We took away the operation during high peak hours, weekends, evenings, holidays. Since this hot water heater has 5 elements, we are able to take these 5 elements and take 2 of them away, making sure that the customer's demands were always met. We then added a time delay to keep the 3rd element out to reduce even more energy consumption. That comes on when a high demand from the school for hot water is needed, and so the customer always has hot water. With that investment of $500, we were able to save the school district $4,000 a year.
Evergreen has been an Energy Star partner since 2009. Dave says the EPA's Energy Star program is an important tool in the district's effort to increase energy efficiency, which helps protect the environment and reduce greenhouse gas emissions.
The district doesn't intend to rest on its laurels as far as energy savings. We look for different projects in the future. We've got one underway right now at Y East Middle School. One of the problems we had here at Y East is we were unable to keep our occupants comfortable. We couldn't keep them warm in the winter months, and we couldn't keep them cool in the spring and fall months. We thought it'd be a really good idea to bring in an outside consultant to look at the system in its entirety. As a result of that look-see, the consultant made a number of recommendations which we're in the process of implementing as we speak. One of those was to install heat pumps in our HVAC units, whereas before the big rooftop units that you see behind me here never had the capacity to help the boiler heat the building. The boiler took on the full brunt of trying to heat the facility. Now, the boiler doesn't have to work as hard because there's heat pumps in these units that can simply take the warm air out of the outside air, even if it's 40 degrees, there's still some warm air, and put it into the building. One of the recommendations that we also received from our consultant was to consider an HVAC rooftop unit that also had heat recovery capabilities. One of the problems you have on a facility this large is with the number of occupants that we have here is that you really need to supply them with a certain amount of fresh air. Otherwise, they can get terribly uncomfortable. If you supply them with fresh air, it's important that you also exhaust an equal portion of that air so that you don't end up overpressurizing your building. However, when you exhaust air, you also exhaust all the heat that goes with it. What a heat recovery wheel does is it captures that heat before it goes to the outside, so the heat that's coming from the building hits this medium, and then this wheel goes around, moves the heat up here, and then it goes back into the building and doesn't get exhausted to the outside.
Energy consciousness is evident everywhere, from students and teachers in the classroom to the expert maintenance teams implementing energy-saving strategies sure to continue saving the district money and keeping Evergreen high on Energy Star's list of top performers.
Not a lot of other school districts, for one reason or another, have taken on this kind of work. It has meant $5.8 million to us, and I've been out there beating the drum to try to encourage other folks to do some of the work that we're doing, and it just hasn't resonated with a lot of other folks. So the fact that it resonates here is pretty exciting, and I think our community should be proud of how responsible we are being with our resources.